here with the Positive Change Real Estate Team, aka Positive Pete. You're watching the first in a video series we're calling How To with Positive Pete, where I'm going to share my experience as a homeowner and as a real estate agent and just cover pretty high level things you should be keeping an eye on to help maintain your home, things to look out for to help prevent small problems from being major costly problems down the road. So we're going to go just take a quick look around the outside of my house. We're through the winter season now, so hopefully the snow and the freezing temperatures are behind us. So now's the time to do this so that if you're gonna hire the workout, you can get on the good contractors schedule for the summer. Those guys book up quick, so now's the time to do it. So let's head outside and take a look. Okay, let's start by taking a look at the front entryway as we normally would walk up. This is stuff you see every day, so just going to take a little bit deeper look. If there's anything major, you probably would have noticed it already, but you know, this deck was just built over the summer, so we'll just take a quick look. One thing, you want to see where the stringers meet the ground. There should be something underneath them so they're not just sitting on dirt. If they're sitting on dirt, there's more potential for water intrusion to get into them, start causing some rot and stuff. So make sure those are cleaned off. Take a look at the boards, see if you can find any, maybe some feel loose, or like we have here, top of the step. You can see the paint starting to chip a little bit. So probably going to, for the summer, put that on the list of to-dos. Come up to your front entryway. So I've got screen door and I've got a regular door here, so obviously you want to make sure that everything opens and closes properly. This is a fiberglass door, so it's not wood. So if it were wood, I would be a little bit more concerned about this faded paint here, because paint acts as a sealant, helps protect the wood from wood exposure to the elements and rot. So, but since this is fiberglass, it just looks ugly. So throw this on the list of summer items to get taken care of. Also, we want to paint the door. After you take a look at that, you want to take a look at the trim. This is wood, and you can see the paint is chipping here. So painting this is something that's going to have to get done. One thing you might want to do is if you see some exposed wood through the paint, give it a little push. See if it feels soft. If it's soft, that means the rot process has already started. And you might need to look into replacing the trim or the siding if the siding is what's getting soft. Next we're going to look at caulking. You can see there's some missing here. It's starting to crack a little bit. You can see exposure through there. You want a nice solid caulk line, so that's going on the list. Also, we're caulking the door frame this summer. All right, let's move on to the windows. Similar to like what we did with the door, we're going to check the trim, going to check the caulking. These joints, you want to check the joints. That's a good spot for water to start getting in, so give those a little push, see if it feels like there's any softness. Or these ones are caulked, so see if that's still holding up. I can see the caulking is starting to pull away from the window here, drying out. So that's going on the summer to-do list. Recaulk the windows. Got a little bit of chipped paint here, so we need to at least touch up paint. No softness, so just touch up paint is all we need to worry about for the summer. Take a look at the window itself also. See if you see any fogginess in between the two panes of glass. If you do, that could indicate that you've got a broken window seal. That's something else we'll probably talk about on another video, but that fogginess is typically not good. So we're gonna walk around the house and do this to the rest of the windows. But let's move on to roof and gutter. Okay, let's talk about the roof. First thing I notice, I got some moss in the valley here. Gonna want to get rid of that. Moss can start eating away at the composite granules that your roofing material is made out of, and that's really what provides you the majority of the waterproofing. They make moss killers or powders you can throw on there that'll kill it. I typically like to just get a broom, sweep it off as much as you can. One thing you don't want to do is hit it with a pressure washer. I've seen people do that, and all you're doing is shortening the life of your roof because you're just blowing off these protective granules that the tiles are made out of. So don't get up there with the pressure washer. Next thing, we're going to look at the air vents, make sure nothing's blocking. It doesn't look like there's anywhere water can be penetrating through there. Not sure if you can see this very well on the video, but I got a little indent right in front of it. That's a little bit concerning. Take a look at that from the inside, but what that could be is water getting through and causing some rot on the sheeting underneath. So when I take a look at my attic a little bit later on, I'm going to take a look and hopefully see that area and make sure it doesn't look too bad. Next thing we're going to look at is our gutters. Mine are a little dirty, so we're going to pressure wash those this summer. That's going on the list. Then you just kind of want to look down, make sure nothing looks clogged. Definitely got some leaves and debris in there. As it rains and snows and melts off, this composite material will slowly erode away, so you'll see some of that in the bottom of the gutter also. Nothing too majorly concerning, but definitely want to get those cleaned this summer. That's going on the list. I'm going to take a look at the hose bib. You can see I still have my my winter insulator on. You know, that's a topic of debate among home inspectors as to whether these are required or not. There is what's called a frost-free hose bib, which some people will say if you have those, you don't need to put this on. I tend to err on the side of caution, like I said, so I put the insulators on just to help protect it, and I will leave it on until I need it. So these will probably stay on even though it's not gonna get frosty anytime soon. Still gonna leave it on. But things you want to look at with your hose bib is obvious damage where you know, if the hose did burst, is there water leaking? Is it dripping? Are there exposed access holes around it where it's not secured properly to the side of the house? Yeah, just want to look for any potential water damage. A couple other things you want to look at as far as your gutters are concerned. Some gutters you will see flow into what's called a French drain, where the water actually goes into a tube underground and is directed away from the house. That's the ideal situation, the ideal way to handle your moisture. For me, I don't have that. I have these little diverters that are meant to push the water away from the side of the house. You don't want moisture sitting at the base of your foundation. It just leads to potential issues with damage to your foundation, erosion, water penetrating, especially if you've got a downstairs basement that's underground, below grade. If you start getting water accumulating at the side of your house, that could eventually penetrate that and start causing damage inside your finished basement. So you definitely want to make sure that water is flowing away from the house. This one seems to be flowing fairly flat, so that's something that's going to go on the list for this summer, is digging this out a little bit so that the water flows out and away instead of either pooling or even flowing back towards the side of the house. Okay, while we're on the front of the house, we're going to take a look at the fencing up here. This was just installed a couple summers ago, so shouldn't expect to see too much going on here, but you can see right away we got some exposed wood. This is made out of cedar, which is a little bit more water tolerant wood than most, but better safe than sorry. We definitely want to get that addressed. So another coat of stain that's going on the summer to-do list for the fence. Next we're going to take a look at our poles or your posts. Biggest area you want to keep an eye on is where the post meets the ground. You're pretty susceptible to seeing some damage here, especially when you got grass that goes right up against it, because as you can see, I beat it up with the weed eater before I mow the lawn. So this is a little concerning how exposed this is already. You can feel a little bit of softness, but give the post a good pull, and it's still pretty sturdy. So as bad as that looks, I'm not all that concerned about it right now because it's still holding up pretty well. Just something I'm going to want to keep an eye on over the next couple years, see if this gets any worse or not. But yeah, I'll just continue that around the rest of the posts along the fence line, and then we'll continue our inspection with the next items. All right, next up we're going to talk exterior structures like sheds. The carport I have here, you can kind of see in the background my detached garage. We're going to take a look at those, just give them a quick look, see if anything looks like it was damaged over the winter. These structures can tend to get out of sight, out of mind as the winter months come and you're spending the majority of your time inside your house. So just going to take a look at the structure itself, see if it's in need of any paint or anything like that. I can see at the bottom here I've got a little bit of rot going on there, so that might need some attention. Looking at the roof itself, it's dirty. That's going to want to sweep that off, get that cleaned up. We just painted it last, I think 2 summers ago, so paint should be good, but we're going to check and make sure that there's no exposed wood anywhere and water's flowing off like it's supposed to. Alright guys, sorry if it's a little dark in here, but welcome to my basement. I've got obviously a walk-in basement for about 1/3 of my house, and then under crawl space underneath the rest. So I'm gonna finish up the exterior inspection by taking a look down here real quick, see how things are looking. Things you want to look for: you've got your insulation, see if there's any spots where you can see it hanging down. Sounds kind of gross, but rodents tend to look for a warm place to hide in the winter, so sometimes they'll try and find a way under your house, and if they start digging into your insulation, it might start falling down, or could just be gravity if it wasn't secured properly. There are companies out there that will come out and clean out your crawl space for you. Take a look. I don't like being in my crawl space all that much, so if there's something that needs to get done here, that's something I'm probably gonna have a professional take a look at, but I'm still gonna take a look and just see if there's anything that I think are potential issues. So we're gonna look at the insulation. If you've got exposed water pipes, you want to make sure they're insulated. I've got this old galvanized pipe here. That's old, that's not connected to anything. It's been replumbed with PEX, so this is not a concern for me. I can see right here that I've got an electrical wire that's kind of hanging a little low, so may need an electrician to come out and take a look and make sure everything's properly secured there. And then I'll get under here with a flashlight and take a look at my easy for me to say, vapor barrier, which is the plastic sheeting that goes over the ground. That should be completely covering the ground itself. We want to make sure that there's no standing water on top of it, and we want to make sure that it's completely covering all the ground. underneath there. So insulation, water piping, vapor barrier, and next we're going to kind of look at structure. If there's any posts or beams that look damaged, look like they're leaning a little bit. If they are, call a professional. You don't want to start messing with structure on your own house, unless you know what you're doing. But that's something that I'm going to save for the pros. So those are the things I'm looking at in my basement. Let's go take a peek at the attic real quick. All right, let's finish up by taking a peek in our attic real quick. Now I get it, attics, crawl spaces, not the funnest part of your house to be in, but they're also the areas that you'll probably see the least. So if there are small issues going on now, it's better to catch them now before they become major, costly issues down the road. So I would recommend at least taking a peek. If you're not comfortable doing that yourself, home inspector, handyman, might be worth having somebody out to take a look for you, catch anything before it gets too expensive down the road to repair. So for me, looking inside my attic in my house, which is a Cape Cod style or 1.5 story style house, where I've got attic access on either side of my second story. Access for me is fairly easy. I've just got these doors on either side of my second story, big enough that I can get in there and take a look around. So things I'm going to look at, you want a nice level layer of insulation. You don't want high spots in one, low spots in others. Look for evidence of rodent activity or areas on the exterior walls where maybe they could potentially be getting in. What does rodent activity look like? Obviously rodent droppings, rodent trails through the insulation. They like to chew on electrical wiring for whatever reason. So if there's any exposed electrical wiring, you want to take a look, see if it looks like anything's been chewed on. See if they've made nests anywhere. If you see any activity like that, you want to get a pest control person out, take a look. Other things you want to look at, you know, we mentioned electrical wiring. If there's any plumbing, make sure it all looks to be in order. Anything that's penetrating through the roof, like your vent pipes, you want to look around those for any evidence of water leaking through. And then just leaks in general. Take a look at the underside of your roof, the sheathing. See if it looks like there's any moisture, obviously any water pooling is bad. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm going to look for in my attic. So thanks for tuning in, watching the video. If you got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and we will get back to you. Thanks for watching.